Greetings, 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 greetings. It is I, your king, King Clifford Jefferson, a senator of God for the fifth kind of man, Jew, son of Falkful of Jerusalem. I'm the reincarnation of King of the Peaceful, which we refer to as Jesus Christ. It's a beautiful day. It is June 25th, 2024, which is the birth year 2974. I greet you in the name of my queen, Sister Galveston from the House of Galveston, Archbishop from Belmont from the House of Belmont, Bishop Searchy from the House of Searchy, as well as all members, all officers, all those inquiring about their way here to the Third Temple English Church of England. And I just want to give a special honor to the Third Temple English Church of England based upon our flight to that which is not uncertain nor unknown. All right, very important for you to understand how important the Third Temple English Church of England, and for that I'm going to give it a shout out. So let's go to it. Excuse me. Yes, we here at the Third Timothy English Church of England have a website for all those who are inquiring about becoming members of our church. It is very important to give honor to the church for its undertaking. When we do the platforms that are out there today, they're charging, they're claiming to have the remedy for the people, but there's nothing sound. There's nothing concrete that you can go to right now and show that it is the right remedy for the redemption of the people in regards to the free estate, okay? The free estate, the free estate for the free men and the free women. So this is the purpose and intent for the Third Temple English Church of England to return your free estate. Excuse me. All right, so this is going to be a beautiful lesson for all those who are inquiring about the Third Temple English Church of England and our obligation as members of the Third Temple English Church of England. And the best way to inform the people is by going to our mission statement. I'm catching a cold, so forgive me if you catch me sneezing. Come on, come all to this beautiful lesson I have prepared for you. You ain't gonna get it nowhere else. You will not get this lesson anywhere else. Greetings, 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 Archbishop Belmont from the House of Belmont. Glad you're here. Brother Juice, glad you're here, brother. Welcome. Give me a second. This right here. All right. As you can see, this is our website. All those who are inquiring about our religious uh, monastery, please go to the website, the Third Temple English Church of England. All right. When you go there, this is what you'll see. This was prepared by Archbishop Belmont from the House of Belmont. You got to give honor and respect to him for his beautiful work as Archbishop of the Third Temple English Church of England. You're never going to see anything like this in any other platform in regards to uh, establishing something that's concrete for the people to be able to see for themselves the working of the Third Timothy English Church of England. Yes, the workings of the Third Timothy English Church of England, i.e., the working of our government that has been assumed to be non in existence. Okay? This is a government. Greetings, Sister Middleton from the House of Middleton. Welcome. Okay? This is a government. Okay? An intellectual movement, but it is a government. So when you go to the website, this is what you will see. So I hope that all of you who are viewing, all those who have passed this information on, for all those who are acquiring, please go to the website and please register. It's very, very, very important that you be counted in the new minister's Liber Vitae. That means the new minister book of life. Okay? It's very important that you be put on this roster. Okay? It is I am reincarnation of King Edgar the Peaceful, which is no other than me. Okay, I'm the reincarnation of King Edgar the Peaceful, which you see here today before you. All right, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome to the Third Temple English Church of England. We, as English heirs, are ordained by blood to bring the truth to a world that has been living in darkness as we come forth with the law and history of our forefathers, foremothers, instituted since time immemorial, written in the English Magna Carta of 1215 and codified in the Statutes of Westminster of 1275. Please recognize the power and authority that we have here at the Third Temple English Church. Yes, it's a spiritual church, right? It is a spiritual church, but our authority at spiritual church is being recognized in the physical realm, okay? In the physical realm. We see a lot of the falsehood has been incorporated in the physical realm. Okay, so we as the spiritual etheric beings have to incarnate in the physical realm to bring our physical law into existence that manifested from spiritual law. Okay? That is that energy that's been translated because of that melanin, which converts energy. And we know when melanin is converted to energy, it is by way of transduction or transducing, which means the translation of that energy or message into what we call a stimuli or a stimulus into an electrical signal. All right? So it's very important. So without, we have to go to our mission statement because this is the mission statement of all officers of the Third Temple English Church of England. You claim to be building a third temple, but I have yet to see a third temple built in this day and time. So if you're looking for one, here it is. All right? Mission statement. All right? You see the angel. All right? You see the angel. This is Judgment Day. Our story and mission. Okay? Go to any other platform, any other uh, uh, podium, and read their mission statement. Okay, read their mission statement. Okay, because a lot of the information that you have has been incorporated for the falsehood. So we incorporated the truth to dispel the falsehood. Okay, as you read it in our mission statement. The third type of English Church of England story begins from the minds of men of olden time, which have been forgotten by their heirs and successors of this day and age. Our journey begins in our minds of our past, which will determine our present and future lives. We, the King's Bench, have returned from our own heirs, returned for our own heirs and successors, declaring and proclaiming that your salvation is your own responsibility. We, the English Anglo-Saxon Berber tribes, have been scattered abroad Albion, stripped of our nobility, royalty, civil status of our peers, who have been long forgotten as a result of our continuous efforts to forget our past rather than remember them. No longer can we, a people, accept a future without a past events to build upon the framework to stabilize the future. This can only be accomplished with a past built on nobility, royalty, civil status of our peers from which we descended down from time immemorial. This is all archbishop work. Okay. Our mission here at the Third Typical English Church of England is to remind our people that returning back to that fork in the road, that path that led you to that separation, to give further direction on how to stay on the short and narrow path headed back home. So this should be everyone's mission out there today, to come back home. Okay? It should be everyone's mission. How many people out there mission statement says something to that effect or to this effect? Okay? How many of them have the capability of restoring a sound government? How many platforms out there can do that? All right? None can do that. All right? We can do that. All right? Why? We're going to show you. All praises be our Jesus Christ, King of the peaceful, which I'm the reincarnation of. We see the title here today of this lecture. It's called the Anglo-Saxon Berbers, the true freemen of these free estates. The true freemen of these free estates. Okay? It's very important to understand that in order for you to have a free estate, you must in fact be a freeman. Okay? You must in fact be a freeman. But the majority of us don't have a clue of what a freeman is. Okay? We get on these platforms, we talk a whole lot of smack, but none of them really understand what a freeman is in regards to the free estates that they claim belong to them. Okay, so without further ado, here is the proof. All right, the freemen are the Berbers, the Anglo-Saxon Berbers. Okay, I always say, he who writes your books set your timeline. Time never was when we were not. The life of time began, the time will come when we as a people will be no more. We understand that when we go back to the story governing the rulers of this land, we go back to the kings and the monarchs of what we call Great Britain, okay? Or either Spain or either France, okay? We know that Spain and France were succeeded by Great Britain, which was a combination of de facto monarchs going back to King James I all the way to Queen Anne. Okay? We must understand, all right, what's taking place. from King James I to Queen Anne. These are the ones who wrote your Bible. Okay? All right? These are the ones who foretold of the events that sure to come in these present times that you're now seeing unfolding as a result of those who wrote your book. Okay? They also preserved our story. Okay? Because he who writes your books sets your timeline. So time never was when the Berber was not, because the Berbers go all the way back to time immemorial. Okay? To time immemorial. And I have yet to see any platform bring any sound information in regards to who they are as a people recognized by a government and recognized as a government. Government recognizes other governments. Okay? Other political societies recognize other political societies. Okay? We must understand that. So we are called the Third Temple English Church of England, a religious society, an intellectual movement incorporated within the states as a result of the separation of church and state. Because prior to the separation of church and state, God's government was here on earth. Okay? God's government was here on earth. So in order for God's government to come back here on earth, it must be incorporated, okay, back into earth. All right, incorporated back into earth. This was done back in the 10th century with the English Benedictine Reform. Okay, that was uh, uh, tailored by Alfred the Great and came to its head in 959 with the creation of Westminster Abbey and the ancient Benedictine Reform through the new minister's charter and the new minister's Liber Vitae, which means the book of life. Okay? Which we are the reincarnation of the third temple of the English Benedictine Reform through the incarnation of King Edward the Peaceful, which is me. Okay? Very important. Descendant of God for the fifth kind of man Jew, son of folk, ruler of Jerusalem. We are a political society. We are a body of politics. Okay? Okay? We represent the crown of England. All right? We represent crown land. We represent crown estates. Okay? Very important to understand these terms. We just don't talk about it, we speak about it. All right? Nowhere out there on TV in TV land or wiki on YouTube or TikTok will you ever get concrete sound information. Yes, the Third Temple English Church of England is an actual government. We incorporated the religious government of God. Okay? No one else has done that. Okay? They might have incorporated as a religious society, but not as a government, because in North America, freedom of religion is protected by the First Amendment. Okay? There is a difference. Okay? There is a difference, especially when it regards to the Anglo-Saxon Berbers and the true freemen of these, in fact, uh, are free estates. Okay? Free estates. Y'all better listen to me. All your so-called leaders, all your so-called scholars, all your so-called uh, 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 men of thought, you have no standing in law. Okay? Because your religious practice can be whatever it wants, but when it comes down to the government, they are running the show. So whatever incorporation lie that you created to exist does not exist in the government based off the state, because church and state was separated. So therefore, in order for your God to protect you based off that God, it must have a sound government, a de jure government, not a de facto government, but a de jure government. What society can actually show you right on YouTube or TikTok or any platform that they speak of the incorporation of that religious society as a sound government. Who can do that? Who has done that? Who wants to do that? No one. Why? Because they can't fleece the people. Okay? They cannot fleece the people. The Third Tip English Church of England is an actual incorporated government. All right? Let's see the proof. Here's the proof that we are, in fact and indeed, a government. Filed for the record, okay? And the recorder's county based upon the recording of deeds. And a deed is an instrument of conveyance, okay? An instrument of a conveyance from a grantor and to a grantee. All right, from a grantor to a grantee, and the grantor is the one who owns the free estates, which is subject to what we call a lolio title, and the only individual that can fit that description is the king. All right, it is the king. And the only way a conveyance of a deed can be conveyed to a grantor to a grantee is by what we call that ancient archaic ceremony called livery of season. All right. We talked about that many times. I don't know how many of y'all remember it, but it's called livery of season. Here you see a Middlesex County instrument. Okay. We know an instrument is a deed of conveyance. All right. An instrument is nothing more to it than a deed of conveyance. It's not proof of ownership, it's just a deed of conveyance. As you can see here, we have a constitutional officer, Nancy J. Pinkin, Middlesex County, recording data cover page pursuant to New Jersey statute annotated Title 46, colon 26A-5. Title 46 deals with property. Okay? New Jersey Revised Statute or New Jersey Statute Annotated, Title 46 deals with the recording of property. All right, very important. Instrument number, you see it. You those who don't believe me, please go check it out. Recorded April 18th, 2022 at 11:37 a.m. Nancy C. J. Pinkin, County Clerk, a constitutional officer. All right, a constitutional officer. All right. Date of document, April 18, 2022. Religious Society, a corporation soul, 161-28, which is a statute from New Jersey by statute that says, and I quote, right saved under the charters of Great Britain, saved from repeal, an act to incorporate trustees of religious society for property held in corporations in place thereof. Okay? That's an actual statute because we know that when property is conveyed in what we call intel, contrast to fee simple, is done by way of operation of the law. And the statute denotes to a conveyance done by way of operation of the law. Okay? Third Tip English Church of England, king, heirs, and successors. All right? So we're talking about the King of England, his heirs, and successors. That means the unborn. Okay? So when you think about the Third Tip English Church of England, we don't care about your money. Okay? We don't care about your views or your or your uh or your um or your remarks. We can care less about that because what we're doing is based upon what the government should be doing. A sound government. Okay? A sound government. The Third Temple English Church of England is a sound government incorporated by way of the statutes. Okay? Incorporated by way of the statutes and what we call the Kingdom of England. Article 1, name and address. The name of the religious corporations will be the Third Typical English Church of England, King and heir successors. The physical address of the religious corporation is care of 360 Lehigh Avenue, Perth New Jersey, province of New Jersey, the Kingdom of England. Okay, you see it right there. How many of you have done this? Okay, all right. How many of you have done this? Some might have done this to establish themselves as a religious society, but how many have done this to establish themselves as a religious society that's a sound government? It makes a difference. Okay? There's a difference. Let's see the difference. Article 2. This is a corporation sold a royal peculiar, the crown. A corporation soul is a legal entity consisting of a single soul, incorporated office occupied by a single soul natural person. This structure allows corporations, often religious corporations or commonwealth governments such as the Republic, which you have now, to pass without interruption from one office holder to the next, giving position legal continuity with subsequent office holders having identical power and possessions to their predecessors. Do you hear me? How many individuals who call themselves leaders can show a sound instrument of the power that they have that existed prior to their being incorporated with that power, meaning the power being passed down to them? How many have you had that power? None whatsoever. Business purpose. A means for orderly transfer, okay, of ecclesiastical property, serving to keep the title within the denomination or religious society. Do you hear what we're talking about? In order to keep the religious property from being treated as the estate of the vicar of the Church of England, not the English Church of England, because that's what we represent. Not the Church of England is that church that was established from the incorporation of Rome, and the Church of England that was established by what we call Henry VII. All right. Henry VII and Henry VIII, by way of usurpation through the War of the Roses of the cadet branches of the York and the Lancaster House, which was descended down from the Plantagenet crown, which I'm a descendant of by way of Godfrey the Fifth Count of Anjou, son of Folk, ruler of Jerusalem. Okay? So we see Article 3 of the business purpose of the Third Temple English Church of England was a means for the ordinary transfer, conveyance, all right, of ecclesiastical property, serving to keep the title within the denomination or religious society. In order to keep the religious property from being treated as an estate of the vicar of the church. The property was titled to the office of the corporation soul. A corporation soul, the crown, is the legal embodiment of the executive, y'all better listen, legislative, judicial governance, and the monarchy of each commonwealth rim. So every republic within the United States Republic is nothing more than the Commonwealth rim, which was based upon that which was created by the monarch of Stuarts, of the House of Stuarts. They operated under what they call a commonwealth, which means that it was an interregnum. All right? Wasn't no transfer of the king or the monarch to the office of the crown to by way of a successor. Okay? Very important to understand what I'm talking about. But oh, yes, it's excuse me, a certificate of incorporation. But where's the power of the government at? That's what we want to see. That's what y'all want to see, right? Let's see. Article 4, members' purposes. All right. All members, when you become a member of the Third Typical Church of England, you will get a copy of our articles of incorporation. All right. Article 12. Statutory code power and authority, common law of England. How many of you who are a part of a religious society, who are subject to leaders, can show you a statute from parliamentary statute? Because we know that under the interregnum, there was no monarch, there was no executive, judicial, and legislative functioning under what they call a crown state. All right, it was broken up. All right, so we see here Article 12, New Jersey Revised Statute, saving of rights under charters granted by Great Britain. We know when you're talking about Great Britain, you're going back to 1707 with the House of Stuarts. All right, but the unification of England, Ireland, and then England, Scotland, and then Ireland. Okay, so it says saving of rights under charters granted by Great Britain. That means Great Britain gave out charges to somebody which they were not supposed to. All right, being Section 12 of an act entitled an act to incorporate the trustees of religious societies, approved April 9th, 1875, which was saved from repeal. Okay, so they can't repeal this act. This act was created to incorporate statutes. Why? Because this section vested property held under the charges of incorporation granted by Great Britain and corporations created in place thereof. Okay, so other corporations was created in place of the corporation sold. All right, we must understand. See certificate of incorporation sold as the crown royal peculiar. All right, one more. I'm going to go to one more statute to show we are in fact a government. 16-143 dash point 46.39. What is it? 16:43.9. 16-1-43.9. Let's go to it. Know it by heart. So you got to know this by heart. Listen. 16:1-43.9. This deals with the religious societies, not corporations, religious societies. Corporations incorporate under Title 14. Religious society incorporates under Title 16. Okay, so you have Title 14 for just corporation and Title 16 for religious corporations. Okay, very important for you to understand that. 16-1-43.9. Not forgetting point 8 and point 7 of 16:1-43. Okay, it says the powers of consolidated corporations. The consolidated corporation shall have and may exercise all powers conferred by the respective certificate of a corporation or charter. So a certificate of corporation is in fact a charter of the constituent corporation, either by Title 14, Corporation General, and by Title 16, Corporations and Associations and Religious. And in particular, the powers conferred by Article 5 of Chapter 1 of Title 16. Other revised statutes, so far as the same are not inconsistent with this act, which are necessary or convenient to the furtherance of its object, and are in accordance with the doctrine government. Did you hear that? With the doctrine government. Once again, accordance with the doctrine and government, discipline, and uses of the church or religious denomination. Because remember, there is a separation of church and state. So when the church separates from the state, then that means that your religious society must have a government. If you incorporate it as a religious society, then your government must be incorporated with it as well. And it must be based upon statutory law, which you see here exemplified before you. So as we can see, Title 16 in regard to corporation and association, religion, and in particular the power conferred by Article 5 of Chapter 1 of Title 16 of the revised statute, so far as the same are not inconsistent with this act, are necessary of convenience to the furtherance of its object and are in accordance with the doctrine, government, discipline, and usage of the church or religious denomination, to the jurisdiction of which the constituent corporation were subject. It shall have, among other powers, the power to invest, change the investment of, and reinvest its endowments and funds in such an investment, whether or not prescribed by statute in such manner as it shall deem proper. Did everyone see that? That is power. Okay? That is government power. We call that the king's jewelry garret. All right? The king's jewelry garret or his prerogative power. Okay? It's very, very important that all those who are part of societies, groups, cliques, whatever you want to call it better have some sound law to protect that group based upon its interaction with the government, because we know church and state was separated. Okay, church and state was separated, and we know when it's separated, God don't represent the state. God represents the church. So when you're in the state, then you're in hell. Thomas Jefferson told you when he dealt with the religious freedom of the United States Act. Okay? It's very, very, very important for you to understand what's being said to you for all those who claim to be members of society and not members of the Third Temple English Church of England. Because we're not biased, okay? This will affect you in some form or fashion. Why? Why am I saying this? Because we understand that it said that under 161-28 of Title 16, y'all better listen. Listen what you're being shown. Saving a right under charges granted by Great Britain. Being Section 12 an act entitled an act to incorporate the trustees of religious societies. It didn't say a state society, a corporation society, all right, or any other society that they want to create. It said religious society, approved April 9th, 1875, saved from repeal. And then they just didn't mention religious society. They were specific about what religious society. Let's see. This section, vested property. We know property is governed under Title 46 of New Jersey Revised Statute and New Jersey Statute Annotated. All right, we're talking about Title 16 making reference to Title 46. All right, in regards to property, all right, held under charges of incorporation. All right, so charters or certificates of incorporations were those instruments that allow property to be conveyed from one person to another. Okay, and then say the true owner of the property, but being conveyed by one person to another. See, that's the problem. That has always been the problem, the one conveying the land. All right. No one thought to even answer these questions of did the person have an authority to convey the land? Okay. No one asked these questions. No one's going to answer the questions for you either. Why? Because they don't know. They do not know. If it was so, they would have told you a long time ago. And I'm not talking about the European. I'm not talking about the white man. I'm talking about your brothers, your sisters, your leaders, your guiders, your teachers, your scholars, your doctors, etc. This section vested property held under charges of incorporation granted by Great Britain and corporations created in place thereof. So if somebody's claiming to be able to save your estate or return your estate, but it better be a religious society, it better not be a civic organization. Okay? That alone will not do it. It will not do it. How I know? Let's go to the system and the government that this government was based upon. Okay? Let's go to the facts. Go right to New Jersey Court's website. New Jersey 1947 Constitution created a court system capable of responding to the needs of New Jersey citizens. And they talk about no other state within the United States. They specifically talking about New Jersey. All right. The New Jersey Supreme Court has gained recognition nationally among states' highest court for its timely, prudent, and well-conceived innovations to the common law. The common law, like other judicial principles, arise out of court rulings resolving controversies presented to courts by people in search of solutions. Individuals and others ordinarily, with the help of lawyers, select the issue to present to the court. In effect, the common law results from judicial decisions resolving those issues case by case. You see a lot of people talking about the common law, all right, but have no rights to the common law because the states got their own common law, contrast to the origin of where common law originally originated from. Okay, there's a difference. So what is the difference? New Jersey is going to tell you the difference to the present day common law, which is based upon judicial decisions, which we call stare decisis. Okay, which is decisions made with the citizens that they incorporated into their government, state's government, and not the religious government, because under the common law of England, the government was religious, totally different. All right, and New Jersey recognized that difference. Okay, let's see. Beginning origination of the common law. Being one of the original 13 colonies, New Jersey has been strongly influenced by English law and the Anglo-Saxon traditions. The three branches of government enshrined in the United States Constitution. You hear that, y'all? It said the United States Constitution and the New Jersey Constitution are derived from English history. So, are you an English heir? That's a question you need to ask yourself. If we're talking about the United States Constitution and the New Jersey Constitution, make reference to the Anglo-Saxon tradition going back to the original 13 colonies that was based upon and influenced only on the English law. Okay, you really must ask yourself this question if you claim to be an Anglo-Saxon Berber and have a right to the free estate for the true freemen. Okay, the king was the executive branch, Parliament, the legislative branch, and of course the judicial branch. So where has this government gone? Where is it, y'all? Where is this government? You can go right now to NewJerseyCourts.gov and get this article that's still on this website. But where is the common law government for the English people? All right, for us. We're here at the Third Temple English Church of England, not those who call themselves American citizens or any other citizen that you want to make up. Your rights are not protected by the common law in reference to English people. The common law that they got based upon their stereotypes, but not based upon the king, parliament, and the judicial branch. All right? Because this is what it just said. The king was the executive branch, parliament was the legislative branch, and courts the judicial branch. It was in the English judiciary that a formal, civilized system for resolving disputes and addressing crimes originated among English-speaking people. Okay? So when you're talking about the Anglophone, you must be talking about the Anglosphere as well. Because a lot of people speak English, but a lot of them are not originated from England. Okay? When we say England, England is not just talking about that territory that's associated with what we call European continent. Okay? We're talking about the Anglosphere. All right? Here in the Anglosphere. It was in the early courts in England that the common law took root and evolved into our current system of courts, judges, and juries. So New Jersey courts, as well as the United States courts, originated from the common law that goes back to the current system. We originated from the common law that created the current system that we have now. So if that's the case, what happened to it? What happened to that system? They don't need it right now because ain't no English people around until now. Okay, that's the problem they're dealing with right now in Superior Court. And they got 3 more days to try to indict your king, or else they're in trouble. Okay? And they can't indict me because those courts are my courts. We're reading it right here. Those are my courts. The common law was now known today, dates back to the 12th and 13th century, and derived from the reign of King Henry II, who appointed judges to resolve disputes among his subjects. We know who King Henry II was. Son of Godfrey, the fifth kind of Andrew, son of folk, ruler of Jerusalem. And my name is Godfrey, i.e. Jefferson, and son is the prefix meaning descended down from. All right? Very important for you to understand what's going on today, because today will tell the story for tomorrow based upon the past. It's very important. Watch where the rabbit holes go. Let's see. Another article. How many of your teachers are teaching you like this? Are not just talking, but are actually teaching you. New Jersey originating the title chosen freeholders. It's about good. It's about to get good, y'all. New Jersey alone of all the United States has the distinction. Excuse me. New Jersey alone of all the United States has the distinction of retaining the title freeholder to denote the elected members of the county governing body. Okay? New Jersey alone of all the United States has the distinction of retaining the title of freeholder to denote the elected members of the county governing bodies. This descriptive name, which commemorates the origin of home rule, is used by only 21 of the nation's 3,047 counties. Okay? In other states, these county officials are known as commissioners, supervisors, probate judges, police jurors, counselors, and a variety of other names. Did you hear me? New Jersey were the ones who originated the term freeholders, which are now called county commissioners. All right? You see it right here. An Old English term, a freeholder originally denoted a person who owned an estate of land over which he had complete control. After the Norman conquest of 1066, so they associate the term freeholder, all right, but they're going back to a time and era dealing with the Norman conquest of 1066 under what we call feudal tenures, okay? Feudal tenures or estates and land. Once again, feudal tenure or estates and land. All right. British kings found it necessary under pressures to call together an assemblage of higher clergy, earls, and barons of the nobility, and later knights of the realm, to sit as advisors to grant taxes for defense of the kingdom. By the 13th century, through battles against abuses of the royal power and the growing influence of the burgesses and freemen, the British Parliament was enlarged to include these freemen who owned their land free and clear, who were called freeholders. English history from this time onward is a story of the increasing power of the subject and his participation in the government. All right? So we must get an understanding of the word freeholder. Okay? This is going to bring an enlightenment to you that you never seen before. All right. And New Jersey, as they stated, were the first originator of the term freeholder. Okay. Freeholder. Let's prove it. Let's go to the Black Law Dictionary. This is teaching, y'all. Thank you, Archbishop. Greetings, C.A. Murphy. Black Law Dictionary. All right. Black Law Dictionary. Those who want to use it. We don't use the Black Law Dictionary. We're going to use the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica to qualify us. All right. We're going to use the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica that was created in Edinburgh, Scotland. Okay? In Edinburgh, Scotland. All right, let's see. Freeman. Freeman, a person in the possession and enjoyment of all the civil and political rights accorded to the people under a free government. All government is not free. The state's government is not a free government, all right? Because God ain't there. The government don't give nothing away for free. You got to pay for what the government give you. So that's apparent, all right? So you really need to ask yourself that question. Are you a free man? You keep talking you're a free man, but you didn't even incorporate free laws for free people. All right? Very important. And the Roman law, so they're talking about in Roman law. We're not Roman, so this don't apply to us. All right? In the Roman law, it denotes one who was either born free or emancipated and was the opposite of a slave. Okay? That's Roman law. Now we're talking about infidel law. So you just can't throw all definitions together. All right? Because we just read when we're talking about freeholder, they made the term freeholder going all the way back to the Norman conquest of 1066 with William the Conqueror. All right? That's what they associated the term freeholder with. All right? So it's the infidel law. It designated an allodial proprietor as distinguished from a vassal or fiddle tenant. And so in Pennsylvania colonial law, all right? So they're talking about infidel law in Pennsylvania under the colonial time. All right? Not going back to feudal law, going back to the time of William the Conqueror. All right? Because if you were talking about that, it would be free slash man. All right? It would be free slash man instead of free man. Okay? Very important. In Old English law, the word described a freeholder. All right? We're talking about free man. And say in Old English law, the word described a freeholder or a tenant by free service, one who was not a villain. The term later referred to a member of a city, or borough having the right of suffrage, means the right to vote, or is a member of any municipal corporation invested with full civic rights. So we know a municipal corporation only exists by way of what? Incorporation. The incorporation of the falsehood. The incorporation of the false government. the incorporation of the false officers, the incorporation of the false kings, all done by way of what we call incorporation, i.e., personifying, i.e., what's the other term? Incarnating. Okay, very important. So we looked up Freeman, and we looked up Freeholder or Free Law. We looked up Freeman in Roman and the Federal Law. All right, it was free law, a term formerly used in England to designate the freedom of civil rights enjoyed by freemen. It was liable to forfeiture or conviction of treason or an infamous crime. Free law, free men. Okay? Now we got free men, not freemen, but free men. Free men didn't say nothing about Norman conquest. All right? But freemen does. We looked up freeholder. We looked up what was it? Freeholder, and it said that freeholder goes back to the Norman conquest, and we see free men. It says make reference to the Norman conquest. It says freemen before the Norman conquest. Before the Norman conquest, a free man might be a man of small estates, dependent on a lord. Every man, not himself a lord, was bound to have a lord or be treated as unworthy of a free man right. Among free men, there was a difference in their estimation for word guilt. Okay? Word guilt is what we call blood money. Okay? Blood money. Once again, I repeat, free men, not free men, Freemen, but free men, Free space Men. It makes reference to those free space men before the Norman conquest. A free man might be a man of a small estate, going back to the title of this lecture, free estates. Before the Norman conquest, before we were invaded, a free man might be a man of small estates depending on a lord. Every man, not himself a lord, was bound to have a lord or be treated as unworthy of a free man's right. Okay? Everybody see that for themselves. Remember those definitions of freemen, free men. Okay? Two different definitions. All right? Let's get one more definition before we move forward. Freehold. Are you Moorish Americans? You know what I'm saying? All you Jews, all you Muslims, all those who teach civics, all those claim to be writing no trust law, you gonna find yourself in a world of trouble. Okay? In a world of trouble. Freehold, an estate for life or in fee. So how many of you have an estate for life? None of you. None of you. A freehold estate is a right of title to land. A deed is not a title. A deed is just an instrument showing a conveyance of some property, but it does not qualify as a clean title or a clear title or an indefeasible title. All right? It does not qualify for those who know what those terms mean. An estate and land or other real property of uncertain duration, that is either of an inheritance or which may possibly last for the life of the tenant at the lease, as distinguishable from a leasehold, and held by free tenure as distinguished from copyhold or villanage. Okay? Very important. So there's some encumbrances in regards to the types of freehold. Okay? There's some encumbrances. Free, what we call fee simple, fee indefeasible, fee indeterminable, and what we call life, what it's called, free determinable, fee simple, and life estates. Okay, those are the only three that are allowed in regards to some type of conveyance of real property. All right. An estate in land or other real property of uncertain duration, that is, either of an inheritance of which may possibly last for the life of the tenant, at least as distinguishable from leasehold, and held by a free tenure as distinguished from copyhold or villanage. An estate to be freehold must possess these two qualities. Immobility, that is, the property must be either land or some interest issued out of an annex to land, i.e., and two, indeterminate duration, for if the utmost period of time to which an estate can endure by fixed and determined, it cannot be freehold. Freehold and a deed. All right, very important. Freehold and a deed is the real possession of land or tenement in fee, tail, or for life. Did you hear that, y'all? Did y'all hear that? Freehold and deed is the real possession of land or tenements in fee tail. Did it say fee simple, y'all? I didn't hear that. This is a Black Law Dictionary. I didn't hear nothing about fee simple. It said fee tail or for life. Freehold in law is the right of such tenements before entry. Okay? We know easement is a non-possessory use and property that you do not own. That's called an easement. That usually comes by way of what we call prescription, for those who know what that term means. The term has also been applied to those offices which a man holds in fee or for life. Okay? Very, very, very important to understand this if you claim to have some free estate. All right? If you claim to have a free estate, which I'm showing you that in actuality, all actuality, you do not have. All right? You do not have. Let's go back to, right? Let's see. Freehold. You know, I love Wikipedia. Such a great source. Freehold or freehold law falls under English feudalism. We know feudalism comes by way of feudal land tenures, which came up under William the Conqueror, okay, in 1066. I hope everyone following along. A freehold in common law jurisdiction, there go that word common law, jurisdictions such as England and Wales, Australia, Canada, Ireland, and in 20 states in the United States. It's a common mode of ownership of real property or land and all immovable structures attached to such land. This is what you call parcels or partial estates. That's what you call it. It is in contrast to leasehold, in which the property reverts to the owner of the land after the lease period expires or otherwise lawfully terminates. For an estate to be freehold, it must possess two qualities, which we already read. Immobility, property must be land and some interest to issue out of the annexed to land. The ownership of it must be forever, of the indeterminate duration. If the time of ownership can be fixed and determined, it cannot be freehold. If an estate in land held in fee simple, fee tail, or for term life. Once again, fee simple, fee tail, or for term life. These are all terms that are not the same. They are not the same. Fee simple is not fee tail, and fee tail is not terms of life. Okay? Because fee simple and term of life comes with encumbrances. Okay? Betel does not. All right? It does not come with encompasses. Let's see. All right? So I hope y'all write these terms down. Freehold. County commissioners or your board of county commissioners. Everybody heard that term, right? It's a shame that we are just ignorant. New Jersey previously referred to county commissioners as freeholders, but its practice ended in 2021 for their involvement in slavery. For their involvement in slavery. Okay? Very important. We'll discuss that in a second. For the first time, Board of Commissioners or County Commissioners came up, which was with William Penn. Okay? That's the first time the term ever came up. On February 28, 1681, King Charles II of England granted a charter for proprietary colonies to William Penn to repay a debt for £16,000 around 16,000. I don't know if that's pounds, around £2,100,000 in 2008 currency, adjusted for retail inflation, owed to William's father, Admiral William Penn. This was one of the largest land grants to one individual ever made in history. Penn established a local colonial government with two innovations that were copied by other colonies in the British America: the County Commission and freedoms of religious conviction. Did you hear that? So the term commissioner actually came about as a result of a grant given by William Penn, all right, given to William Penn by Charles II of England, all right, the son of Charles I, the son of King James, the sixth of Scotland, the first king of England, who was the de facto king, all right, and uh from what we call commissioners, it was adopted by New Jersey, all right. It was adopted by New Jersey, going all the way back to what we call the Norman Conquest, all right. And we know New Jersey previously referred to the county commission as freeholders, but its practice stopped and ended in 2021. So William Penn came up with the term commissioners, all right? And we know that term was changed to freeholders, and we know the term freeholder was changed back to county commissioners as regard of as a result of the relationship it had with slavery. So let's go back to the term freeholder once again, just to get that narrative before we move forward. Okay, freeholder. New Jersey originated the title chosen freeholder before it changed to what they call county commissioners. All right. Once again, New Jersey alone of all the United States has distinction of retaining the title of freeholder to denote the elected members of the county governing body. Okay? An Old English term of freeholder originally denoted a person who owned an estate of land over which he had complete control, going all the way back to the Norman Conquest. And we know the word free space man goes back to Norman conquest, contrast to freemen, okay, which only goes back to those colonists who adopted the term as a result of they're still in the land. And let me show you how they're still in the land. Let's see. Let's see how they are still in the land. So we know that the freeholders are in fact your county commissioners. Okay? Your freeholders are in fact your county commissioners. We know that the county commissioners was created by who? William Penn. All right? William Penn. And William Penn made claim to land in Pennsylvania based off an ancient archaic ceremony that actually belongs to the Anglo-Saxon Berbers. Okay? How we know it? Let's just look at it. Lowry season. This is why the Recorder of Deeds was created as a result of this fraud that was done by William Penn. All right? Lottery of season is an archaic legal conveyancing ceremony formerly practiced in feudal England and other countries following the English common law used to convey holdings and property. The term lottery, which means delivery, is related to synonymous with delivery used in some jurisdictions and contract law or the related law of deeds. You see the evidence that I'm giving you, the proof I'm giving you. The oldest form of common law provided that a valid conveyance of a feudal tenure and land required physical transfer by the transferor to the transferee and the presence of a witness of a piece of a ground itself in the literal sense of a hand-to-hand passing of an amount of soil, a twig, key to a building or the land or other token. Okay? Pretty much what's going on today. You get a key. There's two ways of lottery of season, and lottery of season means delivery of possession, the delivery of the conveyance of the property. All right, we know when a person gets a mortgage, he has to uh, file or get acquire what we call a broker, a licensed broker. All right, a real estate agent. A real estate agent has to open an escrow account. Okay, the escrow account is account for all contract for the all contract uh, um, participation between the grantor and the grantee. The escrow agent or the stakeholder or the broker acts as a third party, who is actually what they call the witness. Okay, he holds all he holds all the assets. Okay, he holds the deeds, all the money, all the documentation is held by that agent until the closing of the deal. Okay, till the closing of the deal. There's two ways of conveyance of lottery of season or property. One by lottery of deed, which is usually how you done today, and lottery of law, which is how it used to be done by our ancient ancestors. All right, and this is how it was conveyed by ancestors to us, the Third Temple English Church of England, by lottery of law, contrast to lottery of deed, which is the normal practice of how property is transferred unlawfully. Okay, unlawfully. Hold that thought. Let me just warm my coffee up. Greetings, Bishop Searching. Glad you were able to join us. Okay, there's only two ways to conveyance of property. Lottery of season is based upon lottery in deed, which is the process which is conveyed now, and the witnesses that are the conveyance is either your real estate agent, the clerk, or either some probate attorney or probate judge, something like that. All right. Contrast to the other form is library of law, which is how we received it. Why? Because it was a promise from our ancestors. All right. It was a promise. Thank you, C. Murphy. Library and deed, whereby the parties met together on the land and the transfer symbolically delivered possession of the land by handing over a twig or a clump of earth to the recipient. This will be the key, okay? And the normal process of conveying property from a grantor to the grantee. The grantor is the actual real estate agent acting on behalf of the owner or the assumed owner, which is not the owner. Because we know that every instrument filed in that record of deed was property recorded, given the property to anybody other than the owner, which we're defined when we define recorder of deeds. And you're going to see it for yourself. So lottery of deed, whereby the parties met together on the land and transfer symbolically delivered possessions of the land by handing over a twig or a clump of earth to the recipient. We didn't receive our land like that. We received our estate by library of law, whereby the parties went within the sight of the land and the transferor declared to the recipient that possession was being given, followed by the recipient entering onto the land. The transferor were our ancestors, all right? We were the recipients, and all we had to do was enter unto the land, okay? Enter onto the land, not by a lottery of deed, but by way of lottery of law, because the word lottery simply means delivery, okay? So let's see how the freeholders or the county commissioners receive the land, all right? Not by lottery of deed, not by lottery of law, like we received it by lottery of deed. And the proof is here. Landing place of William Penn, where the term county commissioners came from, as well as the freeholders. All right, because it went from freeholders to county commissioners, but the freeholders, as we said, originated back through the Norman conquest in 1066. All right, William Penn, near here, October 27, 1682. William Penn first stepped on the American soil. He proceeded to fort and performed a lottery of season. He took the key thereof. We did deliver unto him a turf with a twig upon it, a porringer with river water and saw and part of it all. His historic marker, commission, 1932, commission. All right, and we know that who passed the land to him? His attorneys, okay? The ones who created the deed based off what we call a title search, okay? By going to the recorder of deeds and doing a title search, all right? Y'all better listen to what I'm telling y'all. Let's look at the actual ceremony. Okay. This is the process for which lottery of season, all right, or lottery of law was done. Our ancestors did it based off lottery of law because we know that Ashton, all right, when you go back to overseas possessions, it goes back to Ashton here in what we call the Anglo-Sphere, all right? Before it became British America, before it became Great Britain, and all these other terms. This was called the Anglo-Sphere. It says the lucky new commoner goes to his given acre and cuts a turf from the selected site and drops 2 shillings in the whole made. The high steward of the county then twitches him with a twig and stick, the twig and the turf, then hands it to him, saying, this turf and twig I give to thee, as free as Atherton gave to me, and I hope a loving brother thou will be. The high steward then takes the money out of the hole, and the new landowner replaces the turf. Okay, well, first of all, you must be a family, because it said a brother, okay, that will be. Atherton are our family members, okay? Atherton was the grandson of Edward the Elder, the son of Alfred the Great, okay? Who we are descendants of, all right? Who we are descendants of. Let's go back to our certificate of incorporation. Members' purpose. What is the members' purpose? Article 4, members' purposes. Magna Carta, Clause 1, the liberties of the English Church. First, that we have granted to God and by this present charter have confirmed, you hear that? This present charter. This certificate of incorporation is our present charter. Have confirmed for us and our heirs in perpetuity that the English church shall be free and shall have its rights undiminished and its liberties unimpaired. As English kings, heirs, successors, duty, and allegiance to restore the period's life and history of the English Anglo-Saxon Berbers. English Anglo-Saxon Berbers. English church, our customs, laws, traditions, religious beliefs back to time immemorial here in America. Commemorate our saints, martyrs of past kings and queens. Restore the mysteries of King Edgar the Peaceful, known as Jesus Christ. Who is able to put such a magnificent work together like the Third Typical English Church? With concrete affirmations of people who actually existed because their law still exists here on the governmental level. Okay? It's very important for you to understand that. All right? Let's get back. Library of Caesar. So we know that those who are convey the land under library of deed are doing it based upon the ceremony that goes back to Ashton. All right. And the way it was conveyed by Ashton was based off library of law. Okay. Library of law. It would be in promise. Okay. It was a promise to us. All right. We know that when property is abandoned, it becomes estate. Why? Because interstate. They claim that the English people weren't here anymore. You didn't even exist. So if you don't exist, that means it's a street and it falls under what we call eminent domain power. All right? Through prescription. Now the state of New Jersey takes the property. How? By way of the county commissioners. All right? Or your freeholders. All right? They take the property. They're in charge of the property. All right? Under what they call banda vacatina, abandoned property. They said that the property was abandoned. The free estate was abandoned, saying we left it here. All right, we did not leave it here. You took it. Let's see. Board of County Commissioners, which are the same as freeholders, right? Why did they change the name from freeholders to county commissioners? Why? The term freeholder, which is used in no other state, has been criticized as a vestige of a time when only property owners could be elected. Did you hear that? Which led to white men controlling political power at a time when women and black people were unable to own property on their own. Did you hear that? Why were they unable to own property on their own? As a result of what we call the recorder of deeds. All right? The recorder of deeds. What is the recorder of deeds? Let's see. Hmm. Frederick Douglass. Recorder of deed or deed registry. There's only two ways to convey the land. Do library of deed and library of law. I told you we did it by library of law, not library of deed. Okay? Greetings, Countess Walker. Good to have you join us. Thank you, Countess Walker. Recorder of Deeds or Deed Registry is a government office tasked with maintaining public records and documents, especially records relating to real estate ownership that provides persons other than the owner, you hear that, of property with real rights over that property. Once again, Recorder of Deeds or Deed Registry is a government office tasked with maintaining public records and documents, especially records relating to real estate ownership that provides persons other than the real owner of the property with real rights over that property. So they didn't give our property away to somebody who don't even own it. Who are those people that don't own the property but have it now? The freeholders or the county commissioners. Once again, your freeholders or your county commissioners. Y'all hold that thought. Look at the evidence that your king is giving you. The evidence. Recorder of deeds or deed registry is a government office task. The state, all right, remember, the state separated from the church, all right? All the property belongs to God and the church, but they took it. They're claiming to be the owners of it when they're actually not, because we know 161-28 says right state on the charter of Great Britain saved from repeal and act to incorporate the new trustees of the religious society for property held in corporations in place thereof. When no recorder of deeds were recorded, it was in those corporations in place thereof, tasked with holding the property. You hear that? Tasked with holding the property. All right? We must understand what's going on. And they put Frederick Douglass in charge of the recorder of deeds, who purpose and intent was to record property given it to persons other than the original owner. Okay? The original owner. Right there. All right? It's right there. Why is this so important? Why is this so important? Because we know that the freeholders or the board of county commissioners were the ones who stole the estate from us. All right? They're the ones who stole the estate from us. Let's get a good look at these people, right? Because we know that in order for us to take back the estate, we must incorporate God's government, because God's government protected God, was under God's law, and God's government governed the land, called the common law of England. Okay? So let's go back to our certificate of incorporation, because no other religious society has done that. Well said, CA. As you can see here, here's the evidence. Nancy J. Pekin, Middlesex County Clerk Office. Recording data cover page. All right. Now you see how we incorporated as the Crown Corporation Sole. Okay. Let's go here for a second. Let's look at these criminals. Look at the criminals. New Jersey Department Banking and Insurance. In order for you to get buy a house, you first must get a loan. All right. You must get a loan to to sustain the amount to pay for the actual property. And you also must have that property insured. Okay. So we see that the state of New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance were the ones who also licensed the broker to go out there to make the sale, which are called the escrow agents, stakeholder, or what we call broker. All right. Licensed by the state of New Jersey. And we know that those who own the property in New Jersey are called your freeholders or your county commissioners. All right. New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance. New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance is one of the 15 principal departments of New Jersey's government. The department's mission is to regulate the banking, the insurance, and the real estate industry in a professional and timely manner that protects and educates consumers and promotes the growth, financial stability, and efficiency of these industries. Okay? The department includes 3 divisions: banking, insurance, and the real estate commission. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? So a licensed broker, the ones who sell real estate, once he sells it to you, he then insures the property that he sold to you, and he also gets the loan for you. All right, all under the guise of what we call the stakeholder. All right, the stakeholder works for the stockholder, or what they call uh, um, stockholder or shareholder. You have a stockholder, shareholder for the stakeholder, the one who do all the work, and that is called your broker. All right, which is nothing more than what you call your freeholders or your so-called county commissioners. Hence the word real estate commission. All right, real estate commission. All right, they changed from freeholders as a result of their affiliation with the property that actually belongs to those people identified as black people. All right, and they kept you away from uh, your ability to be able to um, participate in the real estate commission, because they know that, I mean, in the real estate uh, uh, purchase, as a result of, they know that that is actually your property. Okay, but unbeknown, you still take part in it. Okay, you still take part in it. So we see that New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance also governs the Real Estate Commission. All right, they govern the Real Estate Commission. That is very important that we understand that they govern the Real Estate Commission. Why? Let's see. These are your county commissioners. Let's just look at them. Ronald G. Rios, Director of the Board of County Commissioners. All right. These are all your deeds we're looking at right now. All right. These are all your shareholders or your stockholders. Okay. These individuals right here. These are called your interpleters. When somebody has an interest in property that they're overseeing, they once again jump into their position as a result of they are the stakeholders. Okay, this is the position they find themselves, but the position they find themselves is not going to work. Why? Because I'm going to prove that they are thieves. How we know that? Let's see. So these are your stakeholders. All right, your freeholders and your county commissioners. Right, but they are not constitutional officers. No, they're not. Let's look at a constitutional officer. Nancy J. Pinkin, County Clerk Office. Mildred S. Scott, she's head of the Sheriff's Department. And Clarabelle Cortez, the Surrogate Office. All right, that's probate court. All right, we know probate means to prove. The County Clerk Office deals with recording of property, and the sheriff was the one who regulated that property. Okay? So if Nancy J. Pinkin is the county clerk or constitutional officer, and she's listed on our document, right there. Nancy J. Pinkin, Mrs. County Clerk. All right? This is the case docket right here. Middlesex County Law Division 003287. 5/30/2023. All right. This is the court case, as well as the book and page number recorded in the county records in regards to who we are and the authority that we so-called have. All right. Versus the authority that they say they have as constitutional officers. Because really, in all actuality, they are not constitutional officers. All right. They are not constitutional officers. We already proved it. Let's see how unlawful they are. Let's go back to Freeman. Freeman. Freemen. The Berbers are freemen. Very important. Freemen. Before the Norman Conquest. You hear that? Before the Norman Conquest, a free man, they call them the Amazigh now. All right? The nomadic Berbers are called Amazigh, and the word Amazigh means free man, a noble man. So we see free man before the Norman Conquest. A free man might be a man of smaller states, dependent dependent on a lord. Every man, not himself a lord, was bound to have a lord or be treated as unworthy of a free man's right. Among free men, there was a difference in their estimation for Wirgil. Okay, there was a difference in their estimation for Wirgil. What is Wirgil? What is that? What's that term? Let's see. Because most of us just look right over that. But now us here at the Third Temple English Church, Wirgil. Weirgild, also spelled Weirgild or Weirgeld, an archaic historical use of English Weirgeld, etc., also known as a man's price or blood money, was a present precept in some historical legal codes whereby a monetary value was established for a person's life to be paid as a fine or compensatory damages to the person's family if that person was killed or injured by another. Did you hear that, y'all? Word guild. All right, for freeman. All right, we know freeman prior to the Norman invasion, where they were freemen. After the Norman invasion, they were sent to what they call word guild. All right, word guild, and there was a price put upon their head. All right, very important for you to understand that. You don't believe me? Let's check it out. Blood money is said. Struggles for liberty. African American revolutionaries in the Atlantic world. African Americans, activists in Scotland, send back the money, the blood money. Right? Free Church Alliance, send back the money. Grant anti-slavery meeting. They had struck hands with the slaveholder and Christian fellowship. They would not listen to the voice of Scotland demanding in tones which could not be mistaken. Send back the money. Now we know Frederick Douglass was the recorder of deeds, which recorded deeds of property given to other individuals other than the actual owner. Okay, why would they put Frederick Douglass in this position to give property to people other than the actual owner? Why? Because Frederick Douglass and his heirs and successors were the ones who actually owned the property. That's the record. Okay, that's the evidence that we can prove. All right, because library of deed and library of law was two different ways of conveyance. Our ancestors going back to Ashington conveyed it by a promise, all right, which we would enter into that land based off library of law. All right. It says this pamphlet published the minutes of an anti-slavery meeting that was held at Mr. Carnan's church in Parsley, Scotland, at which Frederick Douglass, 1818-1895, gave a blistering anti-slavery speech. Douglass relied on powerful language to expose the base morality of the Free Church of Scotland and condemn their bloodthirsty action in taking blood-stained money from white enslavers in the United States of America. He was unequivocal in his demand. Send back the money. We know blood-stained money is called Weirgild. And we know Weirgild is contrast to what we call freemen. Okay, that were the free men before the Norman conquest. All right, you better listen to me. I'm not going to even read this article. You can do it at your own time. You can find it in many sources. Send back the money. Frederick Douglass. Why is this important? It's not just his discussion of sending back the blood-stained money, okay? But he was in Edinburgh, Scotland. All right, Edinburgh, Scotland, and we know that Weirgild, as we said, is blood money. What is blood money? Blood money, also called blood wit, is money or some sort of compensation paid by an offender, usually a murderer or their family group, to the family or kin group of the victim. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? So Frederick Douglass was speaking on behalf of the family, the Anglo-Saxon family. How we know that? Because Frederick Douglass said he was of Anglo-Saxon descent. Okay? He said himself he was of Anglo-Saxon descent. Restitution, you're right, Bishop Searchy. They have to pay restitution. All right? They have to pay restitution. Why is this important? Why is this important? Frederick Douglass was in Edinburgh, Scotland. We know that in Edinburgh, Scotland, is where the Encyclopedia Britannica was created through the Scottish Enlightenment. We know the Scottish Enlightenment resulted in the Scottish diaspora. All right, we resulted from the Jewish diaspora. All right, very important to understand these terms. We already talked about them. I don't have time to go back over them. You have to catch the previous podcast. Encyclopedia Britannica. The Encyclopedia Britannica is the company known for publishing the Encyclopedia Britannica, the world's oldest continuously published encyclopedia. You hear that? The world's oldest. So we're not using Black Law Dictionary. We're using the Encyclopedia Britannica. All right? The history of the Encyclopedia Britannica. The company was founded in Edinburgh, Scotland, where Frederick Douglass was, in the 18th century during the historical period termed the Scottish Enlightenment. This means that they were enlightened based off the information they had that enlightened them, and the information they had that enlightened them was the information about us as Anglo-Saxon Berbers. How we know it? Let's see. 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica. Right here. Berbers. So Scotland is talking about Berbers. Okay? The topic is Berbers, and the narrative is being explained by Scottish. All right? We already went through this. I'm just hitting the mission. Right here. This is the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica. We know the Encyclopedia Britannica was created in Edinburgh, Scotland. We know Edinburgh, Scotland is in Scotland, where those monarchs, King James the first to King James the Sixth, and every other de facto monarch to send down from. And they was telling the narrative and living the narrative of the Berbers, who are the Anglo-Saxon, because the government that was under the Anglo-Saxon was called Wittemont, but apparently they're associating Wittemont with the Berbers, and they're associating the uncode Magna Carta with the Berbers, because we know that the Berbers were those ones living here in the Anglo-Sphere. You know, the Anglo-Sphere was always the Anglo-Sphere, going all the way back to the Triassic era when New Jersey broke away from Morocco. And we know New Jersey and Morocco were terms that never even existed at that particular time. But it's mighty strange that in the Triassic era that New Jersey broke away from Morocco when the Pangea broke away. I talked about that in my other class. If you didn't catch it, you need to go back and catch that class. All right. So in closing, the Arab is a herdsman and a nomad. The Berber is an agriculturist and a townsman. The Arab has built his social structure on the Quran, which inculcates absolutism, aristocracy, and theocracy. The Berber is an agriculturist and townsman. The Arab has built his social structure on the Quran, which inculcates absolutism, aristocracy, and theocracy. The Berber, despite his nominal Mohammedanism, is a Democrat, which is Jimna or Wittemont. So we know Wittemont, they refer to as Jimna, and his Qanun or Unwritten Code, the Magna Carta of the individual liberties as opposed to the community's good. So we see that the Berbers, as told by the the Scottish through the Scots Enlightenment in regards to those that language they were put in the 1911 encyclopedia in regards to the government of the Anglo-Saxon, and the Magna Carta uncoded, not the coded, but the uncoded Magna Carta was affiliated with what they call Berbers. It was called Jimna, and the Magna Carta was called the Kanun. All right. It says the Kanun parts of the Magna Carta was called the Kanun, and the Wintermont was called the Jimna. So it says the Kanun forbids no sort of exercise of individual will so long as it is not inimical to the rights of other individuals. The advertising of the Berber is indeed limited to little beyond the conversion of later Islam. The Arab transported to a soil which does not always suit him, so far from thriving, tends to disappear, whereas Berbers become more and more aggressive and yearly increases in number. At the present, he forms at least 3/5 of the population in Nigeria, and in Morocco, the proportion is greater. The difference between the Berber and the Arab of the Barbary states is summed up by Dr. Randall McVeer in the following words. The Berber gives the impression of being, as he is, the descendant of men who have lived in a sturdy, independent, self-governing, and self-reliant. The Arab is a degenerate offspring of a race which only from its history and past records can claim any title or respect. Cringing, venal, embarrasses, dishonest. The Arab combines all the faults of a vicious nature with those which a degraded religion inculcates or encourages. The Berber, on the other hand, is straightforward, honest, but by no means averse to money making, but not unscrupulous in the methods which he employed to this end. Intelligent in a degree to which the ordinary Arab never approaches, and trustworthy as no Arab can be. The Berber villages in his state, and the government is vested in an assembly, the Jimna, i.e. Wittamont, formed of all males old enough to observe the fast of Ramadan. By them are determined all matters of peace or war, legislation, taxation, and justice. The executive officer is the Amin, a kind of mayor elected from some influential family in which the dignity is often in practice hereditary. All right, so as you can see here, that they're associating the modern day practices of Islamism with that of the practice of the Anglo-Saxon Berbers, which they call Wittemont and the Magna Carta. Okay, so we are one in the same. All right, one and the same. It's very important that you understand that. All right, let's get here. So in closing, diversity of freehold before 1925. In England and Wales, before the Law of Property Act of 1925, the default position was of freehold transferable to the owners, heirs, and assigned, successors by inheritance or purchase gift, respectively. Those three words were often included in the conveyances to stress fee simple status. You hear that? Fee simple status or fee simple estate. A fee tail estate describes when transfers by inheritance or otherwise was limited to lineal descendants of the first person to whom the estate was given, known as heirs of the body or heirs of the blood. Y'all better listen to me. Y'all better be heirs of the body and heirs of the blood of the descendants of King Edward the Peaceful, who represent the Christ being, the anointed, the one who took the position to act on behalf of the people, representation, filling that position of what we call the king. All right, which in this day and time, I feel that description. All right, very important to understand what's going on, whether you know or not, this is taking place. All right. So once again, Crown land. In closing, crown land, sometimes spelled crown land, also known as world domain, is a territory area belonging to the monarch who personifies the crown. You hear that? Personifies, incarnates, incorporate, same thing. It is the equivalent of a intel estate. It didn't say fee simple, it said an intel estate and passes with the monarchy, being inseparable from it today. In Commonwealth firms, crown land is considered public lands or what we call the public domain and is part of is apart from the monarchy's private estate. Did you hear that? It said it's intel estate. What is the intel estate? How many of your leaders, your teachers, your talkers, your walkers know this? If you're gonna talk the talk, you better walk this walk. In English common law, fee tail or intel or Scottish telesai is a form of trust established by a deed or settlement that restricts the sale of inheritance by of an estate in real property and prevents that property from being sold, divided by will, i.e., fee simple, fee determinable, or life estates, and then it says that it prevents that property from being sold, devised by will, or otherwise alienated by the tenant in possession, and instead causes it to pass automatically by operation of law. Did you hear that? To an heir determined by the settlement deed. All right. What is the crown? The crown broadly represents the state and all actors within the jurisdiction of a commonwealth rim and their subdivisions. Such as the crown dependencies, overseas territories, provinces, or states. These are called a radical title. The term can be used to refer to the office of the monarch or the monarchy as an institution to the rule of law. To the rule of law. I got my. Let me show you my new member of the family, y'all, named Peanut Butter. My girl. She's a girl. All right. The term can be used to refer to the office of the monarchy as institution, to the rule of law, or to the functions of executive, the crown and council, legislative, the crown and parliament, and judicial, the crown on the bench, government, governance, and the civil service. The concept of the crown as a corporation soul developed in the Kingdom of England as the separation of the physical crown and property of the kingdom from the person and personal property of the monarch, which is registered under the common law of New Jersey. Same thing. Being one of the being one of the original 13 colonies, New Jersey has been strongly influenced by the English law and the Anglo-Saxon tradition. The three branches of the government enshrined in the United States Constitution and New Jersey's Constitution are derived from English history. The king was the executive branch, Parliament the legislative branch, and the courts the judicial branch. How can you go wrong with this? Like, how could you go wrong with that? This is evidence at the highest level. Okay, the highest level, which none are abrupt on. And as a result of that, that's going to be your demise. Okay, that's going to be your demise. So, in closing, let's go back to our document. As you can see here, this is the corporation soul of all peculiar, the crown. We incorporated as the crown. Okay? Very important to understand what's taking place. Okay? What is taking place? Let's close out on Library of Season, and I'll leave y'all as I greet y'all in peace. We know library means delivery and season means possession. So what is season? And we'll close out on that. Season or season denotes to the legal possession of a feudal fiefdom or fee, that is to say, an estate in land. It was used in the form of the son and heir of X has obtained season of its inheritance, and thus is effectively a term concerned with conveyancing in the feudal era. The person holding such estate is said to be seized of it. The phrase, which commonly appears in Inquisition post-mortem, i.e., the jurors find that X died seized of the manor. The monarch alone held all land of England by his allodial right, and all his subjects were merely his tenants under various contracts of feudal tenure. Did you hear that, y'all? Did you hear that? Tenure subjects to season. Season Season is believed to have been applicable only to freehold tenures, that is to say, a tenure exceeding a mere term for life, which was heritable, on condition of payment of the appropriate feudal relief to the overlord. A freeman was a man who held a freehold tenure, and this freehold tenure was anciently said to be the only form of feudal land tenure worthy to be held by a free man. There go that word, free man again. A tenure and the variety thereof was the very essence of feudal society and the stratification thereof and the possession of tenure to hold. Okay? The tempo, closing. I'm going to give special honor to Archbishop Belmont from the House of Belmont for doing such a great work on this website. All right, did a wonderful job. All right, so you must understand how important it is to register with the Third Temple English Church of England. All right, you must understand how important it is for you to become a member of the Third Temple English Church of England so that you will be registered as a student and receive the intellectual teachings that were designed, uh, uh, um, tailored, as well as groomed for your ascension. Okay? Groomed for your ascension. These are your estates. This is your land, and the only way you can receive back your estates on your land is to restore the king back to his position. Okay, so with that, I open the floor for any questions, if there are any. If not, then we'll cease and digress on today's lesson. All right, so any questions? While I'm waiting, I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so we're gonna uh hold off on the questions. I don't see any, so I guess everyone is up to the same speed. Please, please, reach out to Archbishop if you have not already in regards to your documentation that's needed for you're joining our institution, as well as leave the comments. Your donations, if you are able to, are welcome. Your gifts and all that you're able to contribute. It's not necessary though. You know what I'm saying? Because we already have which was promised to us by our ancestors, which is about to come to full fruition within the next coming weeks. So all those who are members of the Third Timothy Church of England, please hold fast, because all is about to manifest shortly. And with that, I say peace. Archbishop, in the closing of this lecture, uh, please use the template that you posted for the notice of this lecture. Okay, in closing, thank you so much. I love you all. See you when I see you.